Have you ever seen Roadhouse? I'm not talking about that garbage supposed reboot that they came out with a few years ago with what's his name. I'm talking about the real one with Patrick Swayze. He plays Dalton. He's one of those alpha male movie characters that cannot be denied his place in history as a true man amongst men. Not because he could fight. Everybody remembers the fights. That's not what made him cool. It was his confidence. He walked into the Double Deuce surrounded by drunks, criminals, people looking for an excuse to start something, and nothing got under his skin. Someone insults him, he smiles. Someone threatens him, he smiles. Someone damages his car, he shrugs. He doesn't seem afraid. He doesn't seem angry. He doesn't seem like he has anything to prove. Watching Roadhouse now, I still think Dalton is one of the coolest characters ever put on screen. Just not for the same reason I used to. Before we go any further, there are going to be spoilers. So if you have not seen Roadhouse somehow, go watch it right now, then come back. Because I don't think Roadhouse is really about fighting. I think it's asking a question every man eventually has to answer. What does real strength actually look like? When I was younger, I thought strength meant being dangerous, being able to win, being the guy nobody wanted to mess with. And Dalton certainly looks like that guy. But that's not actually what makes everyone respect him. Listen to the way he talks. He says, I want you to remember that it's a job. It's nothing personal. That's one of the most overlooked lines in the movie because most people make everything personal. Somebody criticizes us. It's personal. Somebody cuts us off in traffic. It's personal. Somebody disagrees with us online. Suddenly it becomes a battle. Dalton refuses to live that way. He understands something most of us don't. Not every insult deserves a response. Not every fight deserves your energy. Not every fool deserves your attention. That's strength. Then comes the line everybody remembers. Be nice until it's time to not be nice. I used to think that line meant, eventually, you're allowed to lose your temper. Now, I don't think that's what Dalton meant at all. He was talking about restraint. He was saying, don't start the fight. Don't look for the fight. Don't enjoy the fight. But if protecting people requires strength, don't be afraid to use it. Honestly, that's closer to biblical masculinity than our culture usually gets. The Bible never teaches men to be cowards. It never teaches us to delight in violence either. It teaches courage and self-control, and those aren't opposites. They're partners. Anyone can lose their temper. It takes a stronger man to master it. Proverbs 16:32 says, he who is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he who rules his own spirit better than he who captures a city. Think about that. God says ruling your own spirit is harder than conquering a city. Dalton understands that for almost the entire movie. That's why he's fascinating. He's not dangerous because he likes violence. He's dangerous because violence doesn't control him. Or at least, that's what we think. Then something changes. Here's where the spoilers come in. Wade Garrett is murdered. His best friend. And suddenly, the calm man disappears. Here's what's fascinating. The audience wanted it. We spend the entire movie waiting for someone to push Dalton too far. We wanted to see him snap. We wanted revenge. We wanted justice. And when it finally happens, we cheer. But did you notice something? The man we admired is gone. The quiet confidence, gone. The patience, gone. The discipline, gone. The guy who said, "It's nothing personal," now makes it completely personal. He wins the fight, but he loses something much more important: himself. And that's where Roadhouse accidentally tells the truth about every one of us. We all have a line. We all think, "I'll stay calm unless they hurt my family, unless they embarrass me, unless they cost me enough, unless they push me one more time." We all have a breaking point. The problem is, sin knows exactly where it is. In James 1:20, it is written, "For the anger of man does not achieve the righteousness of God." That's uncomfortable, because anger feels powerful. It feels justified. It even feels righteous sometimes. But human anger has a way of convincing us that because our cause is right, our heart must be right too. That's exactly how vengeance works. It disguises itself as justice. There's another line in the movie that always stuck with me. He said, "Pain don't hurt." It's a great line. It's also completely false. Pain hurts. Losing people hurts. Betrayal hurts. Being mocked hurts. Watching evil people prosper, that hurts. The question isn't whether pain hurts. The question is, what will pain turn you into? Will it make you bitter? Will it make you violent? Will it make you cynical? Or will it drive you toward God? Because every one of us is becoming something through our suffering. There's something else I admired about Dalton when I was younger. Temptation never seems to own him. Whether it was someone's insults, his ego, or women throwing themselves at him, he never looked like a man controlled by his impulses. I loved that. And honestly, I still do, because self-control is one of the clearest marks of maturity. Not just maturity as a man, maturity as a Christian. The fruit of the Spirit isn't impressive speeches. It's not popularity. It's not looking tough. One of the fruits of the Spirit is self-control. Not because self-control saves us, but because the Holy Spirit changes what rules us. I've never had to fight someone. I've had moments where I've had to make it very clear that I was willing to defend myself or someone else if it came to that. Thankfully, it never did. And honestly, I'm grateful for that. Because every fight avoided is usually a victory nobody celebrates. Our culture celebrates the knockout. God celebrates the heart that didn't need one. That's why Dalton ultimately can't be our example. As much as I love the character, he's still human. Eventually, he reaches his breaking point. Eventually, he gives vengeance permission to take over. Eventually, he becomes exactly what he spent the entire movie resisting. And that's where we're reminded that every human hero eventually falls short. There is only one man who possessed ultimate power and never lost control. That's Jesus Christ. He was mocked, spit on, beaten, falsely accused, abandoned, nailed to a cross. If anyone ever had the right to unleash righteous judgment on people standing in front of him, it was Jesus. Instead, he prayed, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." That's strength. Not because he couldn't destroy his enemies, because he chose not to. Until the Father's will required otherwise, Dalton could control himself. He could, until somebody finally found his breaking point. Jesus had no breaking point. That's the difference. And that's why Christ isn't just a better Dalton. He's the perfect man Dalton never could have become. I still love Roadhouse. I still think Dalton is one of the coolest movie characters ever created. But I don't admire him because he can win a fight anymore. I admire the man he was trying to be. And I worship the one who actually was that man. May the truth set us all free.